I'm Joey.
I'm Carlene.
I'm Pete.
And this is Triple the Nonsense.
Woohoo!
What up?
Arlene, you look like a video. Just kidding.
Well, due to some technical difficulties and Wi-Fi problems, you're not going to see me this episode. So I am just a floating voice between Joey and Pete this episode.
Or if you're just listening, nothing has changed.
But we are in a new arc.
Brand new.
We love
brand new arc. We've done introductions. We've done survival. We've done friendship. Now we are bringing something that is very similar and something that we all have in common.
Hot dogs.
TikTok.
Humanity.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Oh.
And
Pete's like, I'm out. Too soon.
like
That's
peace.
A wrap.
And that is education and teaching. So we've all talked about it in our solo episodes about ourselves. However, we're taking a deeper dive into education and teaching. So this is actually a recommendation arc from, I believe, Lily. I want to say it was Lily.
Lily.
So shout out to Lily for recommending this arc. She had made a comment about not really knowing much about education and what we do. So this podcast episode, we're going to kind of just have a discussion. The next two episodes will kind of be about our college days and how we've grown as teachers. So to go off of, what we do, I'm going to have us all say what we teach, what grade levels we teach, and how long we have been teaching for. So Joey, go on.
Okay. I am a high school band and general music teacher. So I primarily do grades 9 through 12, and this is my 6th year doing so.
I teach high school science right now, just forensic science, but previously I also did environmental science and biology. I've been doing that for 5 years. And I also recently started teaching a microbiology lab at a college, and I've been doing that for about 3 semesters.
And I am a elementary special education self-contained teacher. I work with kindergarten through 5th grade, and I have been doing that for 5 years. So, I'm the baby in the education field.
Yeah, I'm the youngest one here. How have I been teaching longer? That makes no sense.
Well, I do have to say, when I graduated college, I was a paraprofessional for 3 years. So if we want to count that.
Well, that counts. Yeah.
So then 8 years total in the education field. So.
And I had a whole second life before this.
Yeah, Pete was a spy.
Yeah, I used to be cool.
You're still cool. How dare you?
I don't think you were ever cool.
Two totally opposite words.
The universe requires balance.
Exactly. That's why I'm here.
Yes.
Chaos and balance.
All right. All right. So our first question, and with the caveat that this is Pete's second career, did you always want to be a teacher? Or for Pete, what made you want to become a teacher as a second career?
So actually, when I graduated high school, I was initially going to school to be a math teacher. So even way back when, I wanted to be a teacher. I loved teaching. I had a great math teacher in high school named Mr. Leslie. He's now a superintendent of one of the most functioning school districts in the state. So shout out to Mr. Leslie. But every 18-year-old changes their mind 4,000 times, went a different direction for a while. But I burned out at that job. Surveillance is a young person's game. And my wife, for a couple of years before I left, was like, "You're supposed to be a teacher. Go back and be a teacher." And I was like, "You don't know anything." And turns out she was right. She was always right. Let that be a lesson to everybody. Your wife is always right. And then went back to be a teacher. So yes, I always wanted to be a teacher. I just I had a little side quest.
That's fair. And once you completed the side quest, you could then continue back with the main story of the mission. Makes sense.
Yes, and I think the side quest made me approach teaching at a different angle and help me specialize in what I teach now.
I love that.
Like how to hide a dead body.
Like Fair how enough. To hide a dead body.
Yes. That's weird out of context. I've never murdered anybody, nor do I plan on doing it. For the record.
But if you did, you could get away from it because you teach forensics.
Yes, almost certainly.
Not hiding dead bodies. I remember when I was younger, because when you're a kid and younger, you like fantasize about all the different things you wanted to be. So like unrealistic for a while, I was like pop star, firefighter, astronaut, like those things would be fun. And then I think when I was probably like early middle schoolish, I was like, well, I love animals. Like I would love to do something with animals, like maybe a veterinarian. But then I end middle school, early high school, I was like, oh, I get queasy at blood. Like surgery is something I probably couldn't do, or even like give an animal a shot. Probably not. So I think in like 8th grade, I remember being like, well, being a band teacher could be really cool because my middle school band director was like my favorite teacher in the entire world. I'm so close with her today. Like we texted all the time. Like she's incredible. So I remember in 8th grade, my school system did like a job shadow type thing. And me and my friend Jenny, who are both now band directors, shocking, job shadowed the high school band teacher for a couple of days and asked all the questions and saw what it was like and yada yada. And I think that sort of solidified it for me. Like for a little bit in high school, I was like, well, could I go to school to be a math teacher? Because I did also love math, but like everything I did in and outside of school was band. So I was like, I think this makes more sense for me. So it like early on in high school, really, it's like, oh, Joey, he does band and like musicals, and like that's the thing he does. Like so here we are 10 years later.
Wow.
How dare you? I was in the middle of taking a sip of water.
I did it.
Wow. I hate you. Just kidding.
No, I love you too, Joey. Just wait. It's gonna come back around. I feel it. For me, when I graduated high school, I really sneeze coming on.
Achoo!
Thank you. That actually helped, Joey.
Wow.
What?
Nonsense.
When I graduated high school, I was big into planning parties. Planning parties, and I really was interested in doing hotel restaurant management. That was something that I've always wanted to do. And when I first started college, that was the degree that I was going towards. After like my first semester of my freshman year, things kind of gotten, I don't want to say more difficult, but like I had to have like real conversations with family and that about like, is this really what you want to do for the rest of your life? Because, you're not going to make a whole lot of money. And, this is something that, you're going to have to stick with the rest of your life and blah, 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 blah. So after my freshman year, I was taking like elective courses and courses that could really go towards any degree. I switched before my sophomore year to special education. And at that time, they had just rolled out a dual degree program. So I went ahead and did that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always been something, Do I regret going into teaching? Absolutely not. But I always think to this day of if I stuck with hotel restaurant management, where would I be? You know,
Your life would be quite different.
Quite different. And I don't know if I'd have a job currently with everything that's going on.
That's valid, honestly. Something came to mind as you were speaking. So like how you were saying people were like, well, you're not going to make a lot of money, yada, yada. I so vividly remember like end of junior year high school, beginning of senior year, when it's like, you know, you start applying to colleges and all the stuff, yada, yada. I remember multiple friends of mine being like, Joey, yeah, you'd be a great teacher, but like, you're not going to make a lot of money. And like, you're super smart. Like you should be like an engineer or a lawyer or something. And I was like, but I would not enjoy life. Like, yes, I'd make a lot of money, but like, I would hate doing those jobs. I assume. I don't actually know. So like, that's just this could be a whole other episode, just another problem with society of like, we should pay teachers a livable wage because what we do is important, but I digress. We're not going to get into that, but that made me think of that. Yikes.
So because I know that these are going to be future episodes, I've kind of like combined some topics. Okay. So what I want to say, what drew you guys to teaching the grade levels that you're teaching? So like for the two of you, it's high school, and for Pete, it's college. So like what drew you to teaching those grade levels? Because as an elementary school teacher, I can never teach high school.
I think for me, it's two different things. One, like specifically like going to be like a band teacher, like that kind of thing. Like I really love the type of repertoire that like kids at that age can like play and have access to. So like if I was only an elementary or middle school band teacher, like yes, those are super important. I could do them and would do a good job. And like I'm not against teaching those grade levels because, you know, kids are great. But like I feel like after so many years of like teaching like super simple music and like, you know, like not being able to like do higher like level repertoire stuff, I think, I don't know, like I was about to say I would get bored of it. No, I wouldn't, but like I don't know, that's just like it wasn't like the path I wanted to take. But also there's something about like the high school level where you can make certain jokes and use certain sarcasm and like the kids get it and can give it back to you, and like it can be like sometimes like a light friendly roast, whereas like I've taught like middle school and elementary lessons and like camps and stuff, and sometimes I'll make a sarcastic comment or something like I normally do, and they go, "What?" And like they think I'm being mean, like, no, it's a joke. And like, you know, that stuff they don't get yet, which like that is funny and fun in its own way. But like I don't know, there's something about the high school age group, like being able to have like, you know, a respectable fun joking back and forth, that I've always just really enjoyed. That being said, I do love teaching beginning band, which is the exact opposite of everything I just said. But I mean, whatever, balance.
For me, it's kind of the same thing. I love joking around, and little kids don't get my jokes. But I also, like when I was going through my master's program, I actually subbed for a third grade class one time, and they were adorable. Like they were super cute. But at one point, I was like, during reading time, like they wanted to sit like right next to me. And I was like, no, you got to back up a little bit. They're like, we want to sit right next to you. And I was like, I'd like to have some personal space. And they were like, what's that? And I was like, that's where I have space around my person to where people aren't touching me. And then in that story, there's a date that was said in that story. And then somebody was like, that's my birthday. And then every kid had to tell me their birthday. And I was like, I'm a stranger. You shouldn't be telling me that kind of thing. And they were like, you're not a stranger. You're our teacher. And I was like, that's cute, but I appreciate it. But just for today, your normal teacher's coming back. So they're cute. They just, I don't have the ability to help them focus on learning things. I think we would just have like, we just play all the time because I'm a giant child and nothing would get done. So I don't think I'd be a good elementary school teacher. And also like what Joy said, I like teaching harder things. Sorry. I like teaching harder things. That's why I teach forensic science, environmental science. I teach at the college. It's just more intellectually stimulating for me. I feel like I'm like a smart dog, and that like if I get bored, I'll start chewing on the furniture. So I need to like keep my mind occupied. Otherwise, like I don't know what would happen. I don't know, decorate my classroom super cute, which would be out of character for me. We can't have that.
You would decorate it Marvel. Don't go there.
She has a point.
Currently, my room is decorated like Doctor Who, because that's my
Who?
favorite show. Doctor Who.
Who?
I don't like
The Doctor.
Because he has all the best quotes. So yeah, I think you answered the question.
Yeah, so you still decorate your classroom.
Yeah, just not in a cutesy wootsy way that I need to like maintain.
Okay,
Like,
I'm an elementary school teacher. I decorate it once and that's it. I don't go each month or each holiday decorating anything.
I do go crazy for Halloween and Christmas.
No, really? I had no idea.
Yeah.
I will say there are teachers in my school who it's like if I go to their rooms like different times of the year, like they will change their like advisor bulletin board or they do change some things. And like this year I had my advisors like cut up some snowflakes and we decorated a little bit for winter. But like other than that, yeah. So decorated things once, cool. The music room, we did it.
Mm-hmm.
I do normally have my because I'm the sponsor for our Gender and Sexuality Alliance. I do have those kids help decorate the room.
Mm. Carlene, what about you? Why do you teach the grade you teach?
Well, I am an elementary school teacher, so I actually love the littles. When I first started teaching, I was like a kindergarten through second grade resource teacher, and I was like, these are the only grades I want to teach. Like, love them. Like, I'll teach them how to, read their letters, sounds, all that. And then I became a 3rd through 5th grade teacher. And I'm like, what have I been missing out on? Like, I love the older kids. I think, 3rd grade is when they really get to, start expressing themselves and like they start to get like your little mannerisms and like you can hold conversations with the upper grades in the elementary level. Whereas, kinder through 2nd grade really have no understanding of that yet. But right. Before I was a paraprofessional, I was subbing and I subbed in a high school English class. Never again, the kids thought that I was one of them. So
I mean, that's why I grew a beard. I looked like a high schooler my first year and a half of teaching. And I was like, you know what? We got to do something to make me look older.
So
when I was going through my program, I had my field placement and I was 30 at the time. And the security stopped me for my hall pass. And I was like, I don't have one. He's like, you have to have a hall pass. I was like, I teach here. Here's my ID.
Yeah. I remember going to Petco once, like maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and the lady was like, hey, like, I see you here a lot because you have pets. Like, we're hiring if you want to work. And I was like, I am a high school teacher currently. I am set. And she felt very uncomfortable. And I was like, yeah, it happens. I got
Ray baby faces.
Yep.
So middle school is probably the highest I will go. So like 6th through 8th.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say it again, I just love the littles. I love how, unlike Pete, I like when they come and sit next to me and they want me to read and all that.
Pete's face.
I could say stuff, but it's not suitable for this podcast.
Thanks.
But for a lot of my kids, even currently, it's like they need that adult figure. And, I'm really the only safe space they have at some points. So that's why I love, what I do. And I get them for more than just a year. So I'll have some of them for like the next 2 years. So
see, that's why I like high school. Like kids who do band all 4 years, I see them freshman through senior year. And like, I mean, kids grow a lot no matter what years, but like a freshman versus a senior are very, very different. So I've always like, especially like seeing them graduate and like finding out where they're going to college and what like they found their passion for. Like I love that because they really come because I always say like the first half of freshman year for kids, they're still middle schoolers. Like they yeah, they're in high school, but they're not high schoolers yet.
Right.
For like the first half of the freshman year. But then it's like, you know, you actually see them start to become high schoolers and then slowly like turn into like young adults. And they're like, I don't know. I love that part of it for me.
All right. So next one, we're going to get a little spicy. And by spicy, meaning maybe a little
Cayenne?
Chile. So it's a two-part question. Okay. What is something that you love about what you do and the students that you teach, and maybe something not so great about your job or something like that? So for me, as a special education teacher, I love seeing the progress that my students show me through their IEP goals, through, you know, working with me about how well they're progressing in a goal or behaviorally, that type of thing. What I'm not a fan of right now, and I think any special education teacher could probably attest to this, is all the meetings we have to go to, all the extra paperwork we have to do, making sure that our deadlines of annual IEPs are met. So those types of things. So Joey?
And this kind of goes back to what I was saying a little bit, and it kind of echoes what you said. Like, I do love, like, you know, seeing when a student progresses and like, you know, where they end up versus where they started. One specific kid comes to mind. She's a junior clarinet player, and like one of those kids who like doesn't talk very much, like plays kind of quietly, like, you know, doesn't stand out, but is kind of like there and like doing what she's supposed to. But every quarter at my school, I assign what's called a playing quiz. So the kids have to like play a certain amount of things, record it, and send it in to me. And over the last like year and a half or so, it's like hearing this girl's playing quiz. I'm like, wow, you've improved a lot. And I asked her about it, and she's like, well, yeah, I've started taking lessons. And I was like, you're taking lessons? And like, I don't know. Like, you know, sometimes it's like the quiet kids won't like show you that they're doing well. They just kind of exist. And that's because they just don't want to stand out. But then like actually getting to hear and see that progress is just so fun. So I mean, and that just goes for everything. I love seeing a kid, whether that comes from starting a guitar class with me knowing nothing to actually being like semi-functional at the end of the semester. Dope. One part I don't love about my job, I'll say two things, I guess. I like, and again, not to just copy what you said, but like, I can't stand when we like have to hold a meeting for something that really could have just been an email and been like, hey, please read and respond to this. Great, did it. Like, why did I have to go out of my way to come to this meeting and be around people? But then, no, that's it. I'm gonna say that for now.
All right, for me, I teach at what has been like a really underperforming school. A lot of the students have really like low belief in their ability to learn things, and then they come into my class having absolutely no background in anything that I teach. And I love showing them that they're actually really good at learning. They just haven't had the opportunities to yet, because after our first unit, they're like, oh, this is actually not too bad. And then our second unit, we do forensic anthropology. And like their quizzes, I literally throw a pile of bones in front of them and be like, tell me how tall this person was. Tell me if they were born a male or a female. Tell me what race they were. Tell me how old they were. And they crush it just off of looking at a pile of bones. And I love seeing them be like, wow, I can figure stuff out. Like even like without having any background, I could do something for a month, build tools, and like actually figure out real life problems. And I had one year, I had a student come up to me and was like, Conan, I used something you taught us in class in real life. And I was like, that's not good. She's like, no, I didn't do anything. I was like, okay, that's good. I was like, what happened? She's like, I found a human femur in my backyard. And I was like, you called the cops, right? She's like, yeah. I was like, okay, good. I'm so proud of you. But she remembered, like, she like looked at a bone. I was like, that's a human femur. And so I was like, I love seeing like how proud they could be of themselves. So yeah.
Would you say that they're bona fide learners?
Oh,
they are.
Sorry, you were telling the bone story and my brain went joke.
Appropriate. That was very humorous.
Nice, thank you.
So yeah, I love seeing them like become proud of themselves. Like that's a big deal for me. What I don't like about my job, specifically the school I work at, there's some teachers who just aren't good teachers, and they like validate people who are coming after education because like they just don't do any work. They try to cut corners, they do the bare minimum, they try to come late, leave early. Yeah, so like there's a lot of building apathy, and that really bums me out.
I never understand, because you hear stories about like certain teachers, whether it's through peers or like in media, whatever, where it's like there's some people who are teachers who I feel like don't want to be teachers and or don't like kids or like actually want to like help them succeed. And I'm just like, why are you here?
Yeah,
like
this is not a fun thing to do if you don't like kids.
Like that's what the job is helping kids. Like, you know, my goal in my classes isn't to make every kid go to college for music. It's like you learn teamwork, you learn like motivation, you learn perseverance, and like, you know, life skills through this other means. Like if you go to school for music, cool, but like the other stuff's more important. That's what the job is. Again, that could be a whole other episode, but carry on.
Yes.
All right. So this question actually comes from Brandy. I posted on Instagram. Follow us at Triple the Nonsense Podcast on Instagram. And we kind of touched base on this already. But Brandy asks, what made each of you want to be a teacher and why the subject you teach?
Shout out to Brandy. She's the reason I eat Flamin' Hot Cheetos with sour cream. Try it. It's so good. Anywho, I mean, I sort of touched on that a little bit earlier, but like I specifically got into what I'm teaching is because like that's what my life was. Middle school through high school, like if there was something involving band, I did it. Jazz, marching band, multiple groups in school, did theory in high school, and then was like, oh, to be a music teacher you need to also learn choir stuff, which I mean I did musicals and loved singing anyways, then joined choir my junior senior year, like all about it. I think specifically teaching though, like I don't know, it's one of those things, and this is going to sound cliche and corny, but it's like it was one of those things that I just felt like it's what I was meant to do and just like made sense. Like when thinking about what I wanted to do in the future, nothing else came to mind or made sense to me. I was like, well, no, like I'm gonna be in the classroom, I'm gonna teach. Like nothing else was feasible. I don't know. So I wish I had a more inspiring or better answer, but it's just like it's just sort of who I am, and like here we are.
For me, it's kind of like I've always had a philosophy of like try to leave whatever place you're in a better place than when you got there. So like if you go camping, the campground cleaner than you got there, stuff like that. So like, we're at a better place than when I got here. That's the goal. And I think that happens, like you get the most return on your investment for that by helping kids out, because like they're young, they're moldable, and you can really help them discover who they are and what good they can do and what abilities they have to leverage to like make their world a better place. And it's fun. And the reason I do science instead of math specifically is because I'm a giant nerd. And I love science. Like, so I literally like, they asked me like why science in my interview for the job, and I was like, because I'm a nerd. And then I got the job offer, and when I answered the phone when they offered me the job, I was down in Tennessee to watch the eclipse. And so I answered the phone, hi, just so you know, you're on speakerphone because my phone is attached to my telescope so I can take a video of the eclipse. And the superintendent who was offering me the job was like, wow, you are a nerd. Like, I do science for fun. And so doing science for money is kind of nice.
That's fair.
That is really fair. I have said in previous episodes that special education has kind of just been in my blood at a young age.
You should get that checked out.
Yeah, I don't think that's natural.
Sorry.
If you could see my face right now, gentlemen.
You can. It's right there. It's a picture.
Snapchat it to us. It's fine.
My mother was a paraprofessional in a resource classroom when I was in elementary school. Loved hanging out with the kids in there. When I was going through college, my brother in high school was put on an IEP. for his ADHD. And I kind of got, firsthand experience, working with my brother during that time. And then, and then I just, through my program and everything, I just loved learning about, the kids and like different ways that I could help them. And, knowing that there's not one cookie cutter way to like teach them is something that I enjoy doing, seeing where, I can help them and, so it clicks for them and not just what the textbook says. So, so yeah, I mean, that's what I love doing. And I mean, will there be a day that I want to, go and, teach regular education at the elementary school level? Maybe. But right now, that day is not today or this year. So, yeah. So again, thank you, Brandy, for sending in that question. I think that made us all really, really think about us as teachers and what we do for kids. So.
And I have that song stuck in my head. Brandy, you're a fine girl. What a good wife you would be. Sorry, continue.
Pete just looking at the side. Side eye.
Nonsense. It's part of our name.
Like he's gonna be able to feel you nudging him, Pete, or was that to Toast?
No, that was to Joey.
Oh, I thought that was to Toast. I ignored it.
I thought that was to Toast.
Me like, knock it off.
Got it.
I would never actually hit Toast.
No, I know, but I didn't.
I love Toast.
I thought you were like shooing him away.
No, I was shooing you away.
Well, the way my screen is, you're above me, so like that didn't register.
So nothing. Like so, the Nerf gun prank didn't work at all. Because in mine, like you're over there, and so I can like hit you, or I can like shoot you with a Nerf gun.
It depends what's on Carlene's screen, because that's what's recording. So I cannot tell you.
It's literally you, Joey, and Pete's next to you, and I'm underneath the both of you.
Yes.
Oh, so that works. Okay, fine. You're good.
All right. So for the last couple of minutes of the podcast, I've actually pulled up some would you rather teacher questions.
Fun.
So
a game. Fun. Yay.
I figured, why not? Joey loves his games.
Why not? Sorry. Yeah.
As a player.
So with that said, are you gentlemen ready?
No.
Okay.
There's 15 of these questions. So.
Ooh, love that.
All right. Your first, would you rather? Would you rather have 4 periods lasting 80 minutes or 8 periods lasting 40 minutes?
Since currently my school schedule is 80-minute classes, and I like that time frame because I've subbed at like lower level schools before, and the 40 minutes just felt too short. Like you couldn't get anything done. So I'd rather have the longer time and can build in breaks if I want to. So I'd rather the 80-minute.
Yep, same. It's just you can get a whole lot more done with 80 minutes because 40 minutes, warm up, check in, done. Like that's not enough time. So give me.
Like, class is almost over and we haven't started yet. Yikes! Yeah.
All right. Would you rather monitor standardized tests or grade a set of essays?
Oh, monitor standardized tests.
Absolutely, is the test. I do that. Whenever they're like, "Hey, we need proctors for the SATs this weekend. It's whatever this much money." I'm like, "Sign me up." Yes. Like, yeah, absolutely.
But caveat: if you weren't getting paid to proctor it, would you still do it?
Yeah, 100%. You just sit there and hang out and make sure they don't cheat. It's easy. It's great.
Just I don't want to read a bunch because especially with high school students, you have 120 students. I'm not going to try to read 120 essays that are even 2 pages long, hard pass.
Yeah, I'd rather go on this next session. You have this much time to do this. Please make sure you fill all the answers and I'll keep the time on the board. Like I'd rather do that than grade 100.
And then in 25 minutes, you have 10 minutes remaining in this section of the test.
Yeah, easy peasy. Love that.
Alrighty. Would you rather attend a workshop taught by a peer or lead a workshop filled with your coworkers?
Do I get to pick the coworkers? Because that's a big, important detail.
I would say I'm not against myself teaching something to coworkers, but I think I would rather attend a session led by a peer for two reasons. One, learning is fun, but two, like, especially if it's a peer I'm like close with, I would love to gas them up and be like, yeah, you got this, and afterwards be like, hey, that was great, like, you know, build them up sort of thing. So I'd rather that than like the anxiety of like having to speak in front of my coworkers.
I don't mind leading a thing. I would do it by myself, unless I could pick the coworkers. But I've got like some coworkers that just like we super clash. So because I don't get to pick the coworkers, I guess I would just watch, and then like if it's bad, I'll just like text my friends about how bad it is.
Fair.
All right, next one. Would you rather have a year-round schooling with several weeks off in blocks or a traditional schedule with summers off? Basically, would you want Connor's schedule of schooling or the traditional schedule with summers off?
I would rather the traditional schedule, only because, and I know this might be like the 10th podcast I've mentioned this in, but I love working at the theater camp I work at over the summers. So if that wasn't able to be scheduled and exist, I would be sad. So summers for 500, please.
I'm going to deviate from Joey. I would take the couple weeks off in chunks, because then like you can have a vacation in summer, you can have a vacation in the fall, you can have like different types of vacations versus just like, hey, it's hot outside. Where do you want to go? Somewhere hot? Cool.
You make it sound like I have money to travel. See, that didn't even cross my mind once. Like,
I just love the fall. I love the fall so much, and I feel like
I do love the fall too.
I want to go up north and see all the fall colors.
Maine.
But like, what?
Whatever. It's fine. I know.
I don't want to go to Maine.
Yes, you do. You said you want to go.
You liar! You told
I want to
come.
come. I want to come visit. I don't
Maine.
want to live in Maine. I want to live in Maine.
I didn't say live. I said come visit during the fall to see the colors.
But I need like a week off for that.
Whatever. I will also say I know some schools do this already, where they've made it so like the school week's only 4 days and 3-day weekends, so some are shorter, but like it's less like intense per week. I would be interested in trying that. I don't know how sustainable that would be, but I know there are some places that do that. Like, I think Hillary told me that down in Georgia, some schools do that, or they were trying it out last year or something. So that also intrigues me.
So Connor, when you listen to this, get on Pete's case and tell him how year-round scheduling and schooling really works.
Here's my prediction. It's disgusting.
It's disgusting. But I have the personality of a refrigerator, so I don't know why you're talking to me.
Oh my god!
Sorry, that was too real.
All right,
we love you, Connor.
We did love you, Connor. Side note: speaking of Connor, so he was in my live a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think you guys actually were both in it, but he reamed me in the most polite way when I about the mashed potato comment. That how I would throw mashed potatoes at him.
I don't know if I was there for that live, but I forgot that you did say that in that episode.
And I mean, he meant it in the most loving way, but
I love that.
All right.
Shout out to Connor getting mashed potatoes thrown in his face.
See, you found use for the whistle again.
I just missed it and was sitting there.
All right. So this one might be a little controversial. However, maybe. Would you rather use a sick day for flu-like symptoms or save the day for some mental health care?
Seeing as how I just took one of those the other day, mental health day.
I typically say, I think the majority of sick days I've ever taken, which is not a lot, I need to get better at it because we have them and we can use them. I usually use for mental health days, but would I rather do that than for if I was actually sick? I don't know. Because like if I'm actually sick, I'm not going to go into work. That's not true. Before COVID, have fought through colds before. Yeah, mental health day.
Joey, I am like
into it.
I am like you. I because unfortunately with working with special education and the population that I work with, subs most of the time don't want to come into my room because there's this, notion that all kids with, behavioral issues are going to like kick, hit, bite, throw chairs and all that. So unfortunately, prior to COVID, I would come in sick and like probably shouldn't have been there type sick, but I'm like that too. And
I think before COVID, a lot of teachers were that same way. I'm like, well, I can't. It's harder to write sub plans and just feel miserable and go to work. Like, so I'm just going to be miserable and go to work.
No,
especially for elementary, like you have a full day of sub plans versus like me. I teach one class 5 times a day, so it's like here's 1 hour, repeat times 5.
Right, that's fair.
So elementary teachers have it harder.
But I'm really trying to like stop that, notion of, not all kids are like that. And I think that's like my biggest struggle or thought, because, immediately people are like, oh, they're in this classroom, like they must be like the worst kids on campus. And I'm like, they're not. You just have to like meet them where they're at, because
they're people.
Yeah,
they're people, and they're kids, and they're my kids this year are really great kids, although sometimes they get on my nerves, but they're
that's
really
kids.
Every kid does.
Every kid does. They're people. Everyone has days.
So I actually took 2 days off as mental health last week. So but normally it would be depending.
On that note, Carlene, just like to help you out a bit, last year I talked to this self-contained special ed teacher, and I was like, do your kids want to help me plant the school's garden? And she was like, really? And I was like, yeah. And so they helped me plant the garden, and like they were all like, one, they were super excited to be doing something that wasn't like in the classroom, and 2, like they were doing something with their hands, and like they're all really well behaved. They were shy because they didn't know me, but like the special ed kids, at least in my school, are like, they're all like really nice almost all the time.
Well, and my administration was really excited when I told them that, my classroom's doing a kindness / gratitude challenge, because some of the stuff for our like PBIS has been missing. So like we show like appreciation towards others, respect, responsibility, that type of thing, outstanding character. And appreciating others has been something that has been lacking. And they were like, Carlene, this is really helping like PBIS and that. So keep that up. So we're in the middle of doing our 20-day kindness gratitude challenge. And I think that's really helped them gain even more confidence for everything. So
love that.
I love that. This upcoming week, when this is posted, actually this week, we have a club at our school called the Kindness Club. And I don't know if like next week specifically is like a kindness like celebratory week or something, but they're doing like what they do every year called Give a Compliment Week. So every day they send out like an anonymous Google form, and it can be like, to Mr. Hendricks, I want to send this thing. And then they obviously like filter through, because if someone says something like inappropriate or not nice, they won't send it out. But like say like 5 kids send one teacher or one friend a bunch of compliments, they'll get an email at the end of the day being like, here are compliments you got today. And it's really nice.
I love that, because I feel like kids nowadays really don't have that feeling of, receiving compliments or getting that kindness or gratitude that, they deserve, or even adults like teachers and that. So I think that's awesome.
Knowing that it's cool to be kind.
Yeah.
It is cool to be kind.
Put it on a t-shirt. It's cool to be kind. Holly!
We are backlogging her so much.
I think our new goal is to have one episode where we don't say something that we go, that would be good on a t-shirt. It's mostly for me, so I need to work on that.
All right. Our next would you rather is, would you rather chaperone a school dance or chaperone a sporting event? I think I know Pete's.
Dance.
Sporting event.
I knew it.
I'm there anyways.
I remember the
Although
last
I will
dance.
be going to prom, I think, this year.
I remember the last dance I chaperoned before COVID, because obviously we haven't had them since. Like me and other faculty members just like stood in the corner and like we danced a little bit, got some snacks. So my kids like serenaded me to Dancing Queen. It was dope. Like so fun. Like it came on, they all like a group of like 10 of them ran towards me. Like they stayed like 10 feet away because they were like, we're not gonna dance near Miss Hernix, but they like danced at me and like sung to me. And like every time I was like ding in the Dancing Queen, they pointed at me and I was like, this is cute. Good times.
All right. Next one.
Toast degrees.
Would
I'll
you
keep that
rather?
buck in.
All right. Would you rather use the student bathroom or hold it for another period to go to the faculty bathroom? So if you like had to go and you couldn't wait another period, would you go use the student bathroom or hold it another period?
Absolutely hold it. Teenagers. I love teenagers because I teach the grades, but they're disgusting. No,
They're
thank
super
you.
gross, especially boys. Oh,
I will hold it.
yeah. Also, I would just, because I've got a door between my room and my neighbor's room, I'd be like, hey, I'll be back in 5 minutes. And she'd be like, all right, I got you.
Fair enough.
Nice.
So
Nice.
yeah,
Fair
there's things
enough.
to hold.
All right, here's another one, maybe controversial. Would you rather increase your class size and get a raise or decrease class size and take a pay cut?
Give me that money.
Yeah, give me the money.
My
No-brainer.
whole job is trying to get more kids. It's like stay in music and band anyways. I want bigger class sizes. So like sign me up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you rather invite your administrative team to your personal party or keep the list to only teachers?
Ew, neither.
I love our current principal right now. So I'd be down to invite her to like a personal party. I wouldn't probably, but like if it was like I had to, like I would. She's great.
I think in the spirit of the question, if I had to invite all admin or all teachers, I would choose all admin because I get along with most of them pretty well. If I could pick the teachers to invite, then I would pick the teachers to invite. But there's a bunch of
that's
teachers
how
I
I
don't want there. Yeah.
That's how I interpreted it. Like, you know,
Okay.
you get to choose the guest list. Because I've had birthday parties and stuff and invited coworkers that I like. Like, to me, that's not crazy.
Okay.
I have a story time for this next one.
Love.
Would you rather take part in the school's talent show or monitor afternoon detention?
Talent show.
Talent
Have you met
show.
me? I just had detention duty the other day. No, thank you.
So 3 years ago, when I first started teaching, so I was just a kinder through second grade resource teacher.
Mhm.
The school I worked at had staff plays that the drama club would put together. So
Are they hiring? I want to work there.
Yeah. Hard saying.
That's so fun.
That sounds awesome.
And the first, and mind you, I was just started. It was my first year teaching. I was trying to get the ropes of everything. And they're like, Carleen, you should really join in on this. So I said, fine, I'll do it. The show was Alice in Wonderland Jr.
Cute.
And I was Petunia, one of the flowers of the golden afternoon. And I think I have that show saved somewhere that we can.
Can we just have a whole podcast arc? I'm brainstorming right now where we each find different different like fun videos from our past, and we watch them live together while recording the podcast. So it's
Yes.
like Carleen episode, watch this musical and react. Joey's whatever, and then Pete's whatever, because that would be so fun.
You want to know something else? My second
Yes.
year at that school, we did Madagascar Jr.
Cute. Wait, that's a
And-
show? Intriguing.
Yes. So yeah, there's my story time.
I love that. That reminds me of how at my school for Spirit Week every year, there was always like a faculty dance team. And I'm almost always the only male that signs up because A, I would think representation is important, but B, like I'm a dancing queen. So this year with like Spirit Week having more like virtual stuff, this week we need to finish recording like a music video version of the dance and song we're doing, which I'm not going to say just in case any kids listen. And I also offer to edit the video together. So like I'm going to be real busy next week, but it's always so fun. Big fan.
Ooh, this actually goes perfect for our next Would You Rather. Are you ready?
Sure.
Mhm.
And I think I know both your answers. So, would you rather paint your face for a pep rally or teach your students how to do the most popular dance moves of your youth?
Paint your face.
Yeah, I knew that one from Pete.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I'm always down for face painting, but actually my school where I currently work, it does not allow face paint for like spirit weeks and stuff. Like even before COVID, but like whatever, like not allowed. But also I'd much rather teach my class a fun dance from my youth. Are you kidding me? Like teach them all the Soldier Boy? Let's go.
Soldier Boy, tell them. All right. I knew the book. This is how I know that I'm getting to know you guys really, really well. I literally knew that Pete was going to paint his face and you were going to do a dance.
How fun.
I really did.
That was very predictable. Yeah.
All right, next one. We got two more after this. Would you rather have a 20-minute lunch and then end the day early, or an hour-long lunch but end your day later? So basically have a shorter lunch but get done early, or have an hour lunch and get out later than normal?
I would for sure take the shorter lunch because real talk, I don't bring lunch to work now and I just snack on almonds throughout the day and then eat lunch at like 3, which isn't the healthiest thing I know. But like let me out early. Absolutely.
I have a virtual 5th hour class, which is right after my lunch period. And I normally just like eat half my salad during 5th hour. So also I'd take the shorter day.
That's fair.
Fair enough. Would you rather do...
Question.
Go ahead, Joey.
I was just gonna say one more question.
Actually, there's 2 more after this. Or one more. No, so this is it's this question and then one more.
Got it.
Would you Pete's gonna love this one. Would you rather do team building exercises for a day as an in-service or be left at work alone with your colleagues on whatever is most pressing?
Oh, that sounds so fun. Yeah, the second one for sure.
Yeah, the second one for sure. You could have said get punched in the face and I've been like, still. Yeah.
Well, also because that second one, it's like you could control like how productive you are and like actually focus on whatever issues need to be focused on instead of the please get in a line by how many years you worked here. Like we've done that before. I'm good.
We did a whole team building day. Like we had an outside company come in and like they like do a ropes course, but like we couldn't go outside because it was cold. And we did some team building activity thing. And at the end of it, they were like, so tell us what you learned at the end of this activity. And like, it was some corny stuff. And then one of the people I'm actually friends with, she started off with like, it was a really hard year. And then she started crying and then everybody started crying. But because I'm dead inside, did not cry. So I'm the only person in the group not crying. And I was just like, don't make a joke, Pete. 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 But then somebody else made a joke and that ended the whole thing. So I handled it well, but like, yeah, the team building thing.
You got
like,
through.
Yeah, the team. And then like we circled around and then the guy who was leading it's like the leader guy. He was like, it has been a really hard couple years and started crying again. Everybody did. I was just like, oh, this is not good for people who don't have a soul. So yeah, just don't sign me up for team building things. I got my team. I'm good.
Amazing.
All right. Our last question of the episode. Are we ready?
No.
Yes.
Would you rather have small increment raises and a 5-year contract, or one big raise with a 1-year contract?
Does the one big raise with 1-year contract happen every year?
It doesn't say. Bye, Pete.
And Pete's gone.
Hey, Pete's gone.
I think I would rather. I'm just gonna keep going. He'll probably pop
keep
back
going. Yep.
I would rather the small increments and 5-year contract. I don't know why. I just think that just makes more logistical sense. I think I would be stressed only going like 1 year at a time contract wise, being like, could this be the year that I get fired? Like, I would rather know like the 5 years of security is good.
Oh man.
The yearly anxiety attack of, are they going to fire me this year? Like, no thanks.
Okay, so that is the end of our first episode of our education arc.
And we lost Pete along the way.
We lost people along the way, but we're going to actually just keep going, which is going to be interesting with the
double the nonsense.
Exit. But before we get going, we wanted to shout out some of our listeners, friends, viewers. Every podcast episode, we leave a question on Spotify, and one of the questions is from our episode called Chaotic Nonsense. And on Spotify, we asked if you could improve any mythical creature, what would it be and how would you improve it?
I love that question.
Shout out to Casey, Joey's sister.
Hey.
And she said, I would make unicorns smaller size like a dog, so it could be a pet. And also, if they accidentally stab you with their horn, it has magical healing powers instead of pain. So
I love that.
That's a great one. Great answer.
10 out of 10. Creativity runs in our family. Oh, Pete's coming back.
Pete's back.
I think Carlene, I think her Wi-Fi infected mine.
I mean, you make whatever excuses you want. I'm crushing it. So Pete, because you're gone, we're ending by like reading the comments, the like responses to questions and stuff, and then we're almost done. But welcome back.
Cool.
I have a comment from one of the YouTube videos, because if you're unaware, which if you're consistently listening, you should be aware that we have the audio version and then the unedited video version on YouTube. On the episode Taking Care of Your Nonsense, Janae wrote a lovely comment, and this is mostly to roast Pete, so I'm glad you're back. And she said, Pete, that body roll was so great, I'd like to challenge you to Dougie, which also kind of foreshadows a future arc we're going to do. So more comments and suggestions really help fuel what we do, and it's exciting.
Thanks, Janae. That was so lovely. I'm so glad you commented that.
So be ready to learn how to Dougie from Pete in a future episode.
Means. Is that a person? Is it like Dougie Fresh?
And then finally, looking at our first episode, beginning of the nonsense, shout out to Andy, who just left a really sweet comment on our episode, in which she said, great kickoff. I'll be turning in. Pretty extraordinary how we connect to each other. Awesome to hear your journey so far, and looking forward to the next 3 podcasts where we've interviewed each other. She is also working on accepting compliments as well. So thank you so much, Andy, for the very sweet comment on our first podcast episode.
And
we love hearing that.
And this is our 11th.
So see, wild. We've been growing. We're in double digits now. So but that is it, you guys. Episode 1 of our education arc is complete. Make sure you check back in every Monday for a new episode. Make sure you follow us all on social media. Triple the Nonsense Podcast on Instagram, Triple the Nonsense on TikTok. You can find us all on our personal TikToks.
Could you see our face?
I lost train of thought. For all of us on our personal TikToks. As always, there will be a question put on Spotify. Make sure you answer those in order to get a shout out from us on a future podcast episode. So
you can troll Joey too.
And troll me.
Yeah.
We love comments. We don't care what it is. Just comment anything.
Also, make sure you follow us on YouTube, where you can see the unedited version of our podcast.
It was a fun one today.
All of the technical glitches today.
Technical glitches, but we keep going, and that is part of the nonsense that you'll see on the YouTube channel as well. If you guys have any ideas for future ARC episodes, please reach out to us at triplethenonsense@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts on future arcs or even questions you guys might have.
Or send us money.
But I think that's it, right, fellas? Am I missing anything?
I think you crushed it. So, on that final note, I'm Joey.
I'm Carlene.
And I'm Pete.
And this is Triple the Nonsense, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week. Woo!